Hi, in this video we're going to show you how to run a pay run. From the dashboard, click the Pay Runs tab and then click Add a Pay Run. The first time you add a pay run, you'll have to select the pay period ending date and the date the pay run will be paid. Any subsequent pay runs that you create will remember these two dates. In my case, I'm going to choose the 26th of November as my pay period end date and the 27th of November as the paid date. The paid date is the date that will show in the ABA file. You'll notice that it's found some approved timesheets. It's only approved timesheets that are included in a pay run, so it's worthwhile checking that all timesheets have been approved before you run your pay run. It's found 15 timesheets in the current pay period, and all unpaid timesheets up to today being 16 timesheets. I'm going to include 16 timesheets, which is going to be one timesheet from the week before that's yet to be included in a pay run. When you're ready, click Create. In this screen, the pay run gets calculated, and things like superannuation and that kind of thing are calculated automatically. This is a pay run screen. You see a summary of things like hours, earnings, any deductions, tax, superannuation accrued, and net pay. To see further detail, click on the arrow next to the employee's name, and you can review the details. In this case, this employee has received a salary of 38 hours, paid at their hourly rate, and has automatically accrued some annual leave, personal carers leave, and long service leave. For this employee, they've received some ordinary hours pay for the shifts that they were during the week, paid at $27.50, and they've received some Saturday pay at 9 hours at $33 an hour. They've also accrued some long service leave automatically. As you're reviewing your employees, it's a good idea to tick the employees off to mark them that you've checked them and that you're comfortable with them to be processed. This isn't required, but does give you a handy guide as to which ones you looked at and which ones you haven't. If you're dealing with a lot of employees, we have filters. There's a range of filters to choose from. You can filter an employee by things like what their employment type is. So I might just want to look at casual employees. And reduce the list of employees to look at. If you're using the marked as complete option, you can set that as a filter and only show records that are not marked as complete. You can also process your leave requests in bulk through the pay run. If you click on leave requests, you can see a list of approved leave requests that can be included. You can either apply them individually, in which case you get to decide how many work hours to apply, or you can apply them all in bulk. Click Bulk Apply. The pay run will also display warnings for things like negative leave balances, negative earnings balances, any birthdays, anniversary dates, and other events. You can filter employees by those that have warnings and review the details. There are a few other settings that we can look at by clicking on the Actions menu, and that brings up a menu of options. You can add earnings lines, handy if you might want to manually add an allowance or something like that. You can add things like expenses, lump sum payments, which might allow you to, for example, add a bonus over a certain number of weeks. So one unit of $1,000 represented over 4 weeks' pay, and that'll tax appropriately. You can accrue and take leave, and also just make an adjustment without it having any effect on the earnings lines. You can make a deduction, you can adjust things like tax and superannuation, perform a recalculation or re-import the timesheets altogether, and you can terminate an employee. Terminating an employee makes the whole employee go pink, so that it stands out, and will pay out any accrued annual leave and anything else that you've accumulated for that employee. When you click Save, that calculation occurs, and it'll add any annual leave in that needs to be paid out. You can take that a step further and turn it into a redundancy or an ETP payment. Tick the checklist, decide whether it's a genuine redundancy or not. Then you have to fill in the taxable amount split between Type R and Type O payments. Here I'm going to say that there was $12,000 paid out as a redundancy and $5,000 as a Type O. When you save that information, it'll work out the tax accordingly. This will also generate an ETP payment summary that's issued to the employee instantly and is included in the batch of information that you can lodge to the ATO as part of the payment summary lodgement process. The other menu option is to exclude a pay run. This removes any earnings and takes the employee out of the pay run. That's handy if you need to go back and amend timesheets or something like that behind the scenes. When you finish in your pay run, you go to the Actions menu and click Finalise. You can either make the pay slips available to the employee now or publish them at a certain date. That'll send notifications to the employees. That could be in the form of an email or an SMS. It will also send a journal across to your chart of accounts in QuickBooks Online. If it's set up correctly, that journal will also include things like classes and locations to be split up appropriately. We also now have the opportunity to download an ABA file, which can then be uploaded into internet banking and pay this pay run as a batch payment. We can view reports. We have two key reports on the pay run. One is the audit report, the other is the variance report. The variance report allows you to view this pay run against a previous pay run and look at any variances to within a certain percentage. The audit report provides a PDF view at the same level of detail as what you see in this screen. Click Close when you finish and the job's done.